Pleasant. I mean, not Mount.
The reason we exist is because you cannot stay ahead of all threats. So what we do is we block by default.
Hey, what's going on? You're here with E-Tech Millie, and I am looking to get my face back. So, 2 seconds, get my face back. For whatever reason, my face is not acting right. Alright, there we go. You're here, E-Tech Millie, and what we did yesterday was we went to the Design to Part show, did a little field trip. That video can be found in the playlist. You can check that out on your own. And what they focused in on was 3D printing, adhesives, assemblies, many different trades, all the trades. And we're talking about those. The automation, I didn't really check them out as much as I want to. Barcoding, vehicle components, CADs, castings, fabrications, robotics, welding, tools, and plastics, the production of plastics. I was looking for inspection services, and I did not run across them, but I should have really looked a little bit deeper for them. Tooling in Cannon, Virginia. It's a few different places. I made a few little connections over there. Not as many as I thought I could, but I was hoping that they'll have a seminar or something. But they basically had automation seminars that took place. I'm guessing like the automation seminar that took place at like 8 a.m. and all of the other seminars that was yesterday, because it was a 2-day thing. I did make it the first day. I made it there the second day. But you know, things about going to like conventions and shows and places that show you stuff, you don't know if you don't have the table of activities, and the second day has all the juice, or vice versa. So it's kind of disappointing, but it's okay. Sorry, maybe they ran out of juice. I mean, but the thing is, it's more meant for buyers. And I was looking for, I seen a couple places that had aviation kind of setups. What I'm looking for eventually is aviation, mainly automotive mechanics. Eventually, when you do come to this site, you're going to be seeing more aviation. That is the alt space. No rocket science is needed, as far as we're not planning on doing anything dealing with rocket science. So this ASE is dealing with fuel ignition exhaust. That's what we're going to be focused on. Okay, so since we're going to be focused on this, and this is considered a I could say one of concern, we're going to do it just a little bit different. We're going to watch a few videos pertaining to it, so that way we may be able to figure out the science for those who don't know how fuel works. Fuel, there's two different types. We have gas, we have diesel. Everyone who goes to the pumps, you see the different octanes. The different octanes does make a difference of how clean the engine does flow. The higher the octane, the cleaner the quote engine flow is going to be. The lower it ignites, and then it is really the study of that we are focusing on. And then if there are glow plugs, what they do, and one of the main reasons why you have to learn how to deal with diesel vehicles over regular vehicles, plugs, meaning that they glow. It's not one of those things where it is instantaneous and then it goes. It's a glow plug that you're working with, and you do have to switch out those glow plugs. That's something that does have to happen, just like when you have to switch out the spark plugs. You know, they have special tools for the glow plug removers. They have special tools for that. As far as spark plugs, it's easy to do. You can do it with a simple ratchet set. Just get whatever size spark plug you're looking for. I'm not exactly sure the what it'll be, but it'll probably be in between like 10 to 12 millimeters, millimeters that you can be working with when it comes down to that. So it's anywhere between 10 to 12, I believe. It might be 16. I don't know. I'm just guessing. So yeah. So when we talk about when we are talking about those type of questions, considering for the ASE, That's the kind of knowledge that you should have, at least how it works, the science of fuel itself. And then outside of the fuel, we are going to one that goes in and then one that goes out. And essentially that's bare minimum. And when we are dealing with a exhaust system that is faulty, there are different toss. At the same time, it's not meant for you to figure out everything on your own. I know last time what we ended up off was brakes. So we were worried about brake squealing. So let's go ahead and talk about ignition. Yeah, so what we're going to be doing in order to cap off the brakes that we were talking about yesterday, we're going to finish off with the last little videos that I believe we didn't get to. So, all right. This is dealing with brakes.
What's up, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at
One sec.
the muck-off disc brake cleaner. This disc brake cleaner does exactly what it says on the tin. It will remove all contaminants like dust and oil, ultimately improving your braking performance. Then we want to simply spray it over the rotor, inside the caliper and pads. So once you've applied the disc brake cleaner, we want to get ourselves a luxury microfiber cloth and get rid of any excess. So that is a disc brake cleaner, very easy to apply, and now you can forget about that dreaded brake squeal that we all...
This is what you do. All you're going to need is a bolt and a nut. You're going to thread the nut onto the bolt. Now all you're going to do is take the bolt and put it right into here. You want to make sure it's pretty much perfectly fits into there. And all you're going to do is turn that bolt. See, it's nice and tight, it's not going to move and flex. Now we can impact that up. Impact it up. Hope it helps.
I don't know why everyone makes bleeding brakes so complicated. Check this out. This is the bleed nipple. Crack that bleed nipple. Fluid will start coming out. Now just to take this to an extreme, we're going to do this. Okay, great. Now we've got some air in the lines to get out. To get the air out, you're going to need a bottle, a bit of clear tube, a zip tie, and some brake fluid. Make a hole in the top of this. Now when you've done that, ram this in. Open your bottle of brake fluid. Pour it in. Put the lid back on. Now, as long as that pipe is submerged, good to go. But before we begin, good to go. But before we begin, you have to take off the brake reservoir. You have to take off the brake reservoir cap and chuck some fluid in. Do not let that reservoir cap and chuck some fluid in. Do not let that get low. And crack the bleed nipple, get that rubber. As you can see, it's pushing the air bubbles out, the old fluid out. Once there's no more air bubbles, you just simply tighten down, pull the line off, top up that bleed your brakes with a bottle. Like, share, comment, check out the other stuff. Peace.
Of course, you learn a lot through gamification. Except we do need to start when they come to the workspace in order to understand the shop better. All right, let's get done.
Car,
And it's in your butt.
and it's on my mind. All right, Let's light some stuff on fire. This is cars down to the atom. Gasoline. Turns out it's not just for huffing and getting high. It's also for your cost from petroleum oil, which comes from organisms breaking down over millions of years. In the mid-1800s, people began trying to separate it out, get rid of all the crap, to refine it. Now, we have all kinds of liquids and oils that come from petroleum, different chemicals, all really good at burning. Its name, gasoline, it's made up. To sell this new fuel, they combined the word gas, which people knew could be fuel, like in their gas lamps, with the suffix "ol", which sounded like oil, and then they rounded it off with "ene", which made it sound chemical-y. In English, they call it petrol, because it comes from petroleum oil. We just arbitrarily named it gasoline. Here's basically how an engine works. Air comes in this shaft, and it gets mixed in with the gas, and then it's compressed by this piston. Gas combines with the oxygen to give off energy. 1 gallon of gas combines with 20 pounds of oxygen. That is a lot of air. It creates a... You ever notice water coming out of a tailpipe when the engine's running? Well, that's because water is a byproduct of all those tiny little explosions going on in the engine. This is a 5-gallon jug. There should be enough oxygen to burn up about 2 tablespoons of gasoline.
What a coincidence. I happen to have 2 tablespoons of gasoline right here.
All we need to combine the oxygen in the jug with the gasoline is a spark. James is going to act as our fuel injector.
I'm a fuel injector.
This is going to be like the cylinder in your car, and I've rigged up this ignition coil to give us a spark. Don't do this at home, because it's stupid.
Yeah, do it at work.
That was fun, huh? You guys see how scared James... And compressing air makes for a different challenge. Air is a bunch of molecules all rubbing against each other. And when the air gets compressed, those molecules rub together more. And when they're rubbing together more, they generate heat. So more compression means more heat. In a hot engine, there's a chance that fuel will combust without a spark. And that's called engine pinging, or pre-ignition. And that's bad. Each other. And you risk damaging your engine. Originally, they fixed it by adding lead to the fuel, because lead made the gas more stable at high temperatures. No more leaded. It's also why paint chips don't taste as good anymore. Guys, what are we doing? Gotta have my chips.
What's with all these numbers on the pump?
Octane rating, the more resistant the gas is to pre-igniting.
What the hell is an octane rating?
Octane is a chemical like gas that's how much octane is in the gas. It's just how well the gasoline mixture resists ignition under pressure compared to octane. For example, 87 octane is 87% as good as octane at reducing pre-ignition. So that's why high-performance cars with turbochargers and high-compression engines gotta make sure they use high-octane gas so it doesn't combust early under all that added pressure.
Is higher octane gas better for my...
No! Higher octane gas will not ignite until it's supposed to. That's what it means. If you don't drive a car that needs higher octane gas, and we've refined petroleum into this miracle fuel that drives almost everything. So now you know a little bit more about gasoline. What it is, how it works.
Put it in gas.
You also put it in your belly.
Gets you crunk.
Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. How they work, what's in them. I want to know what you guys want to know. Tell me what you guys want to see us blow up. What you guys would like to see cut in half. What do things look like in the inside? I need an excuse to do stupid stuff. Give me an excuse. Let's get into it together. Let's find out how cars work. Dual pumps, throttle body, multi-point, direct. That's right. We're talking about fuel injectors. Thanks to Square.
Scene is extracted from crude oil. Firstly, this dark black crude oil is taken out, then it is heated at 370 degrees Celsius. The heated condense back into liquid form at different temperatures. Substances with higher boiling points condense near the bottom. Intermediate boiling points, like diesel and kerosene, condense in the middle, and lower boiling points, like petrol, gasoline, condense near the top.
Have you? We will explain your car. The first thing you do after putting the seatbelts on is to insert the key in the ignition switch to start the engine. When the switch is turned on, the electric circuit between the battery and the starter motor is closed. The starter motor is an important element for the starting system. It allows the engine to reach the proper RPMs so as to initiate the engine's operation under its own power. The starter motor essentially transforms the to the crankshaft. Now, the combustion cycle takes place inside the engine cylinders. So, the starter motor is disconnected. Now, let's see what happens inside the engine, taking the example of a common 4-stroke engine. A 4-stroke engine, it represents an example of this engine.
So all technicians should know the 4 strokes. So pay attention.
Is to use this energy to provide movement and transfer it to the wheels so that the vehicle can move. It all takes place inside the cylinder. The purpose of the piston is to transfer force from expanding gas in the cylinder to the crankshaft via a piston rod or a connecting rod, so that the back and forth linear motion of the pistons is transformed into a circular motion which can power the wheels. But let's see this process more often. First stroke, intake. The valve must
Intake, that's the first one.
Be in the open position while the piston pulls an air-fuel mixture into the cylinder by producing vacuum pressure through its downward motion. The air-fuel ratio is generally about 14.7 to 1. That's because fuel cannot ignite alone.
So 14.7 to 1, that's something that we all need to remember. That's when it ignites.
It is the oxygen in the air, in fact, that provides the combustion of the fuel. What happens in this stage, both the intake and exhaust valves are closed, and the piston moves up the chamber to the top. This causes the compression of the fuel-air mixture, which decreases 10 times its volume. At this point, pressure rises drastically as the air and fuel molecules are compression and expansion. At the top of the compression stroke, the spark plug fires, igniting the compressed air-fuel mixture. This causes an explosion. As the fuel burns, it expands, increasing the pressure inside the cylinder and driving the piston downward, moving the twist that rotates the crankshaft, which will convert the energy of the explosion into rotary motion. Now, let's see the fourth and final stroke, which is called exhaust. Open. This action expels the spent air-fuel mixture through the exhaust valve. The 4-stroke cycle is complete, but it does not stop here. At a speed of 6,000 RPM, it repeats up to 50 times per second, causing 200 explosions per second inside each cylinder of this 4-stroke engine. More than 10 years in industrial supplies have led ASE to become a qualified partner for some of the most important automobile manufacturing companies, providing its technical support over a wide range of industrial components necessary during the production process of many types of vehicles. Why do cars need to shift gears, and how the manual transmission works. If you found this video useful, please let us know by leaving a like and a comment. You can also share it, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Find out our next projects by visiting our
Hello everyone and welcome to this week's video. Today I'm going to be explaining exhaust systems. Now I previously made a video on how to increase horsepower with your exhaust and it was brought up to me that I hadn't really explained the basics of exhaust, so that's what this video is for. I'm going to explain the basics and then there's some other things that I'll say at the end as far as different things about exhaust systems that you want to look into. Pushing out those exhaust gases, and you need them to leave, and not only that, you kind of want to clean them up and you don't want it to be really loud. People don't typically enjoy that. So what we've got here is, here's your little engine block, a 4-cylinder, and you've got your exhaust manifold. So at the exhaust stroke, it's going to be pushing the gases through these different plenums here in this exhaust manifold. So several stages along the way. First up, we've got an O2 sensor, and that's going to be checking the air-fuel ratio. So if your engine is burning too rich or too lean, that's what this is here to kind of fix for you. So if it sees that there's oxygen still in the exhaust, then it knows that you're burning kind of lean, not using all of the fuel that you need, or not injecting enough fuel, so then your engine management system will inject more fuel. And vice versa, if it sees that there's no oxygen, then it'll say, hey, back off on the fuel injection. Next up, we've got a catalytic converter, and the point of this is to reduce harmful emissions, so things like nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, and the vaporized fuel, the hydrocarbons that you haven't burned, assuming it's rich or something like that. So then we've got another O2 sensor after our catalytic converter, and there could be multiple catalytic converters along the way, making sure to clean everything up. We've got another O2 sensor, and this is basically checking the efficiency of this catalytic converter. And that'll make more sense once you watch my video on catalytic converters. I'll have that in the coming weeks. Next up is a resonator. Now, not all vehicles have a resonator. Basically, these are used to drown out kind of lengths of sound coming in here, and that'll break it up. And as they bounce back, they'll bounce back and cancel each other out for specific ranges. And then finally, we've got our muffler. This just reduces noise across the board, reduces pretty much all frequencies, makes it a little quieter so your car's not so loud. And then it all goes out the tailpipe. So that's the basics of an exhaust. I'm going to have a video on O2 sensors, catalytic converters, and mufflers, so we can get a little more in depth into those. I'll also show a clip real quick just of my car and some of the exhaust parts. So it's kind of hard to see. We've got this heat shield here, which is covering the exhaust manifold, which then goes down underneath the car. And so you can follow that back, and there you've got the... And so here, of course, we have the muffler and then the tailpipe.
Do you smell that?
A catalytic converter, also known as a CAT, has been a commonplace feature of vehicle exhaust systems from around the 1990s. It is an emissions control device that reduces the harmful level of exhaust gases produced by internal combustion as the gases pass through it. These harmful gases can include a number of pollutants, such as nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, and hydrocarbons. Housed inside a stainless steel can lies a ceramic monolith. This is made of a honeycomb structure, which allows free airflow and maximum surface area. This is coated with a combination of up to 3 precious metals, namely platinum, palladium, and rhodium. This precious metal coating enables the conversion of exhaust gases that pass through the honeycomb monolith. The monolith is held in place by a matting, which initially expands when exposed to heat. This supplies the pressure needed to keep the monolith secure. As a byproduct of internal combustion, exhaust gases, including the pollutants mentioned previously, enter the CAT. These gases then pass through the monolith. As they do so, a chemical reaction takes place as a result of the precious metal coating, which acts as a catalyst. This reaction takes place once the CAT is at operating temperature at around 300 degrees Celsius, being expelled from the exhaust tailpipe.
Ever heard of discover how it affects your car's performance? Back pressure is the resistance that exhaust gases face as they exit your vehicle's exhaust system. When your engine burns fuel, those gases face resistance. This is what we call back pressure. Some level of back pressure can be beneficial for low-end torque. It's the right balance between minimizing back pressure and maintaining enough to keep engine efficiency. Too little back pressure, especially in naturally aspirated engines, can reduce low-end torque, making the car feel sluggish at lower speeds. On the flip side, too much back pressure can severely limit how much air and fuel the engine can take in, reducing horsepower and overall performance. The key is finding that sweet spot where your engine breathes freely but still maintains efficient combustion. If you're thinking about modifying your exhaust system, be excessive back pressure and boost performance, but removing too much can hurt low-end power. So now you know what exhaust back pressure is and how it affects your engine. It's all about finding the right balance for your driving needs. If you have questions or want to learn more about performance mods, leave a comment below.
Did you know what your car exhaust smoke color means? White smoke indicates coolant leakage into the combustion chambers. Blue smoke means your car's engine is burning oil. Gray smoke indicates excess oil or transmission fluid leakage. And black smoke means your... Did you know what your car exhaust smoke color means? Means your car's engine fuel...
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you can do what...
Clogged up exhaust system and the most common causes.
So, yeah, it's saying 4 exhaust clog symptoms. The clog exhaust causes. So whenever someone's talking about they have an exhaust issue, say it's the cat, the muffler, or the exhaust pipe. The cat, that it causes 4 things: the power, bad fuel economy. You can tell by the miles per gallon you're getting. Engine misfires or runs rough. All right, yeah, let's go ahead and commit that to memory. I like that one. We gotta commit that one to memory.
Why it gets clogged up, and how you go about fixing it if this does happen to you. And so the number one symptom is going to be a lack of power, and this is because the engine needs to pull in air, which it uses to burn with fuel and cause combustion for power, and then it needs to push off all this burnt off exhaust out the tailpipe, and it needs to do this inside of a constant cycle to keep the engine running. And so when the exhaust becomes clogged up, it can create a back pressure, which makes it harder for the engine to pull in new air and to push out the old exhaust. And so the engine has to start working twice as hard, and this is going to cause a lack of power. So if your vehicle doesn't, because the engine's having to work harder than it should to push out the exhaust, and this extra work is going to cause the fuel economy to be worse in the vehicle. If the exhaust really becomes clogged up, it can even cause misfires or the engine to run rough, since it's really having to work to push out that exhaust. And if it can't push it out, then it can't bring in new oxygen to burn to provide power. So it's really going to start having problems, since it needs to push that exhaust out. And other symptoms that you might smell exhaust, or you might smell burning, since that exhaust might be really heating up. This is very common. Catalytic converters start to fail as they get older. And when they do fail, they start to get clogged up since the material in there starts to fall apart. And when that happens, they need to be replaced. The same thing for the muffler. The muffler starts to fail. Quite often, it can also get clogged up. Not as much as the catalytic converter, but the muffler can also up underneath the vehicle while I was driving or something like this. You can go look and see maybe it got hit or something like this. So it just got dented in or something along these lines. So it's possible that somewhere one of the pipes just got damaged and it's just blocking the airflow going out of the exhaust. A very common method that many people use to see if the exhaust is clogged up is that they remove one of those oxygen sensors, mainly the upstream oxygen sensor, which is the first sensor going down, but sometimes the second one. And if you remove the O2 sensor, then it could cause the exhaust to be able to come out at least a little bit. And then once you do this, if the vehicle starts running better, you get power back or anything like this, then that exhaust was clogged up. But if nothing changes, then it might not be clogged up. So that's a very common thing that many people do. Of course, you can also unbolt it a little bit somewhere along the line. Some people do that. But basically, they try to loosen it up a little bit, not permanently, but just as a test to see. I just wanted to make a video on some common symptoms of a clogged exhaust system. If you have anything to add, please comment down below. If you have any questions, ask me and I'll try to answer them. If this video helps you, please click like, please click subscribe, and have a good day.
The amount of current flowing through a circuit is measured in amperes, or amps, whereas the potential difference between 2 points is measured in volts. There's also the electrical circuit's resistance to the flow of current, and the volume of water is the amperage, which is measured in amperes, or amps. Resistance, which is measured in ohms, is a bit like friction that the insides of the pipe offer to the flow of water. There's a basic law in electricity called Ohm's law. The law defines the relationship between voltage and current flowing through a circuit. Mathematically, it states that voltage is equal to the product of current and resistance. In other words, it means that the greater the number of volts.
And we are through. Hope they put some of y'all. It's crazy how much you can learn right in your sleep. About the way the engines ignitions work, the fuel, the way the fuel works. We did not go over glow plugs, but we did go over regular ignition. As far as the ignition spark plugs, we went over that. The diagrams of how the exhaust system works as well, where the common issues will be the cat, the exhaust line, and it was one more that it could be. Muffler. I kind of backtrace it. That's how I kind of do it. Okay, like, all right, so the issue's here, and then I backtrace whatever the issue could be stemming from. And after that, we do have literature that can help you with these kind of things. But yeah, so where we at? The fuel, boom, boom, boom. The ignition, boom, 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 boom. We went over a little bit of the electrical at the same time. I don't think we really need to beat up electrical as much as we need to beat up other things. Exhaust, we went over that. If you want, we try to understand, but it's not something we're out here doing. Now the next one is all of those warning lights, the ESC, the ABS, and as well as the TC. The diagnosing and the repairing of the fuel, the ignition, the electrical, and the exhaust systems. We're going to go into a kind of understanding what kind of repairs might need to happen to those and what we can particularly. So that's what we're going to go over to later on today. Tomorrow we already went over that, and the final day. And I might do it Saturday. No, we're going to go ahead and keep it Monday. It'll be the general engine. I might even kind of, anybody else can't understand what's going on, but that general engine is 100%. So because it's 100%, what we can do, we still going to try to give it its due. So let's not do that. But yeah, after that, it's going to be a whole day. It's going to be, because we're going to be concluded with round 1. And what it is, I have a kind of a 5-round mentality with what's going on with this right here. The first round is doing every topic, at least 2 sessions to understand the science of it, the D and R of it, and then after that, the second round will be a retesting of said issue, topic needs to change, and like, hey, your game was weak here, it needs this, it needs that. And then the fourth one will be to hit all of the subjects one session at a time, depending on that data. If that data say that it sucked, then at that point we gotta retouch some of that stuff a little bit harder. But if it's stuff that it's like we're getting tested on it and it's like it's a breeze, at that point then we can go ahead and test it different. If it's something that's hard, it's like, oh man, we gotta go ahead and get back in it. Long story short, it's based on that third round where we are reorganizing, retesting, and questions, answers. I know that when it comes down to it, most people, we're probably driving on a truck or something, or we're driving with our family, we're driving somewhere, and we might have our headphones on, and we kind of, long story short, if you're tied in and plugged in, you're moving, you're progressing. So yeah, that's gonna conclude what we got going on for today. We're gonna ride out, well, not today, but for the morning.